as I mentioned earlier today, it's end of the year, right? We all know it's end of the year. I'm wearing my bright red sweater because it's, holiday time. We're looking forward to, holiday parties and all that good stuff. But what I think is really important about the end of the year is actually our planning. And I know that Faraz is on the same wavelength as I am about getting started, ending this year and reflecting, but also thinking forward, because it's a really crucial time to take stock of what you've done and what you could have done and maybe what you can do, especially when it comes to money. So that's why we're going to talk about 10 money moves that you can make before the end of the year. Right. So I just talked about that a little bit about what we'll talk about. I'll tell you a little bit about myself and my company, and then we'll talk a little bit more. I mentioned earlier, I'm a financial advisor. My office is in Saratoga. I'm here locally. I grew up locally. I love helping people with their basically, I guess it's their problems, their money problems, and helping them overcome those obstacles. A lot of people come to me because they're facing challenges, or maybe they've had a windfall, or maybe something personally has happened. They've left their job. They don't know what to do with their 401k. Maybe they're going through some midlife changes. They have an inheritance, or maybe they're planning a new family. So these are all people who will look to me for some help and guidance. We also do small business 401k plans, solo 401ks, SEP IRAs, simple IRAs for solo practitioners as well as small business. A little bit more about my company. We are fiduciaries. That means that we are on your side. We don't sell products. We don't charge commissions. As I mentioned, we do financial planning, investment management. We work with small businesses for the retirement plans. We also do cash management for nonprofits. There's lots of nonprofits who need that type of help. And we work, again, with small to mid-sized businesses. Okay, so what can you do? What can you do now? Like, we're literally, today's the 10th. We've got only 3 more weeks, literally, right, left before the end of the year. So these are just some things that you can do. Number one is check your spending habits. My husband and I just did that. We cut the cord, you guys. We got rid of the cable, and we've been paying $300 and something every month for 2-3 years, We've been paying a lot of money, so we just cut the cord and said, hey, we'll see how it happens. We got one of those antennas that you put onto the TV, and we're trying to figure out, what do we need? What do we need? Do we really need to watch 500, 600 channels? So those are simple things that you can do. Take a look at your subscriptions. If you have Apple Plus, which I do, they just increased it to $37.95 a month. That's a lot of money. So do you also need the Spotify? So take a look at those subscriptions, because they do add up. So take a look at your spending, how you're spending the money. For us, it's like the DoorDash too when we're kind of lazy. So maybe meal planning, meal prepping, that could help you financially as well as in your health, right? So take a look at your spending habits. This is also very important. You've got about 2 payrolls before the end of the year if you're a W-2 employee to max out your 401k employee deferral. So take a look at your budget. Can you do that? Can you put a little bit more? The max contribution is $23,000 for an employee deferral. So this is an excellent time. Maybe you can put in $250. And every penny counts. So take a look at that. Also take a look at whether or not, for some folks, to see what your income is this year. Do you have enough wiggle room in there to maybe do a Roth conversion? That would be great. If you could do that, that money will grow tax-free. And when you take it out, it's also tax-free. So that's a great opportunity to do that as well. This is probably near and dear to Faraz's heart. It's plan for upcoming taxes. Many of us are solopreneurs, right? So we work on our own. Good time to take a look at how much you've made. Just use whatever software you have a quick check with Faraz. Check in to make sure that you're going to be able to pay those withholdings come January 15, right? And make any other plans that you can. It's a great time to also take a look if you need new office equipment. That big equipment would be obviously a new car, something like that. Chat with Faraz about that as well. These are great opportunities to start to decrease your tax liability. And on the personal side, if you have investment accounts, it is a really good time to take a look at whether or not you can do tax loss harvesting take a look at some of these positions that you may have had. Maybe they, got small, loss in there. Can you match that with a gain somewhere? It's a great time to do that as well. The next one is use it before you lose it. If you have a flexible spending account in particular, I know this all the time. We get to the end of the year and you ended up, by the grace of God, not having to use so much money on either prescriptions or copays, right? But it's a great time to take a look at that and book those last appointments, go to the dentist, go to the optometrist. There are so many supplies that you can buy over the counter that qualify for a flexible spending account. And for those of us who, I'm not sure if anybody here has littles, but if you use the dependent care as well, make sure that you're putting in submitting those last. Another important tip to take a look at is check your beneficiaries for your retirement accounts. Check your estate plan. Is everything in good order? Have things changed? Life doesn't remain the same, so maybe it's a time to refresh that estate plan, to take a look at that trust, to make sure that if the kids are grown up and you don't need that guardianship, maybe you need to change those trustees as well on your estate plan. So it's a great time to do that as well. And just a quick look at the IRS contribution limits to just kind of keep it in the back of your mind. As an employer and employee, you can put between your deferrals and your contributions up to $69,000. Elective deferral, that means the employee only part, is $23,000. For those of us who are over 50, some of us, it's an extra $7,500, right? So again, there's so many opportunities for us to catch up in particular, especially because many of us own our businesses and we've been working in the business, taking our money and our revenues and putting it back into our business, that we kind of forget about ourselves. So the IRS is great in the sense that they give us a lot of opportunities to catch up. So catch up on your 401k. You can do a catch up of $1,000 over age 50 for your traditional and Roth IRAs. Your health savings plan in particular is a great one. If you have a high deductible plan and you're over 55, you can put in another $1,000. It's great because when you get to be, where's Gary? Gary should be here. So when you're 65, you can use that money to pay some of your premiums, right? Because it keeps growing the health savings plan. And again, the dependent care FSA limits, $5,000 and $2,500. Make sure you're submitting. All right. And this is not so much fun, but take a look at your interest rates. What are you paying on this credit cards, right? What are you paying and what are you getting paid on your savings accounts? If you don't have a high yield savings account and you've got a little bit cash sitting around, make it work for you. Just don't let it sit there idle. Many of us just put them into that interest checking at a credit union and you get 0.01%, right? You get nothing. So take a look at other opportunities. There's lots of online banks that you can do that. I started using Mercury actually for online banking. We talked about this earlier in the year. We read a book. Avi, you'll have to help me. I can't remember the name of that book. Profit First, right? About taking your revenues and making sure that you bucket them. And that Mercury has really worked out for me. And I'm making more money on that before I give it to myself and invest it. Review your insurance policies. I know Rick just talked about that earlier today. Definitely, it's very important to take a look at making sure that you have the right coverage for the right, either your house or your car, or even personally. Many of us don't ever take a look at that. Do you have enough term insurance? Do you need a whole permanent life insurance policy? Those are excellent questions and concerns that you should have to review, and you can talk to Rick about that. He'll help you. If it's in your budget, spread a little bit of holiday cheer as well, and also get a deduction, right? So you can do charitable contributions. It's a great time right now. Giving Tuesday was last Tuesday, so that's also an excellent time to remember for next year. And if you have a bigger bucket of money that you would like to contribute, consider opening a flexible, spending account, donor advised fund. They're very simple to set up, very low cost, and you can actually put in a big bucket of money and take that deduction this year and then give that money out to charities as you want over whatever time frame you would want. It's a great way to do that. Rebalance your portfolio. If you have a 401k, if you have an IRA account that you handle on your own, it's a good time to take a look at how your portfolio has performed. Do you need to change it? Take a look at maybe you have too much cash in there. That's really generally what happens a lot to people who have 401ks because they let it sit there in the cash before they invest it. So definitely take a look at that. If you need to rebalance, maybe take a look at if you have too much equities as well. We've had a huge run up this year, which has been amazing, but it may be time also, depending on your age, and if you're going to retire soon, to take a look at restructuring that portfolio. And lastly, dream big, set your 2025 goals. I literally did this same presentation at the same time last year, so I'm just curious to hear from you all. How did 2024 work out for you? Did you set your goals, meet your goals, exceed your goals? So it's great. Yeah, I started doing that as well. Anybody else want to share a goal that they set for themselves and 2023 coming into 2024 and you met it, exceeded it? BD? Oh, I love that one. That's a good one. Yeah. That's awesome. That's awesome. I love that too. Well, I think this is the time definitely where you want to sit down. You've heard me say this before that the average American spends 2 times, 3 times even more time planning a vacation than they do working on. We've got 21 days to the end of the year. Take the opportunity, take a look at what you spent, what you can stop spending on, put some more money back into your pocket, hopefully in a retirement account or in investing, and set your goals for next year. So 2025 will be the best. Thank you so much.